All right, and it'll tell us when we're live on the YouTubes, and that's usually when we hit our little wave there. There we go. So, what's up, YouTube? Welcome to. Let me make sure hang on. Let me make sure the audio is right here, because that's the thing that I always get yelled at, right? The audio input. Make sure that that's good. Okay, that one's good, and then mine. Let's make sure that that one's good. It is. And then this one over here, which is not Uncle Mosh.
Co-pilot.
Let me make sure that this one is good. The Mosh Cam audio. Make sure that that one's rocking. Let's see. And that one's good. And that the intro is good. So here we go. What's up, Raider Nation? Welcome to Raiders Fan Radio.
Oakland, LA, Oakland, Vegas, Raider Nation, wherever, forever. You got your old Uncle Mosh and Raiders Fan Radio from Murph's Man Cave, taking a lighter journey into the dark side. Sit back, put your feet up, pop a top, and enjoy the ride. Here we go!
Look left, look right, Paletnikov, a leaping pass, touchdown!
We miss you. Love you, and we'll see you in the Hall of Fame.
When you have great coaches, then after you have great coaches, you get great players. You have a great organization, and you tell them one thing: just win, baby.
Way up the middle, intercepted Filipiano at the 50, time running down. Oakland football, and I think Oakland victory. The Raiders have scored on the most zany, unbelievable, absolutely impossible dream of a play.
Well, I love this team. I think this team can win. I think this team can win.
What is up, Raider Nation? Your old buddy Murph back once again for another what we hope to be fantastic episode of Raiders Fan Radio. That's right. You got your old buddy Murph back here in the fan cave for episode number 123 of Raiders Fan Radio. And, you know, my Uncle Mosh has been on kind of a hiatus here lately. You know, it's a busy season for him. It's a busy work time for him. And so he hasn't been able to adorn the southern annex of the Murph's Fan Cave desk like he normally does. And you know, so I had a podcast selfie go on one week. And then thankfully, original co-host of the show, Sonny, was able to return last week and join us for a show. But you know what? Really super cool and really blessed and thankful to welcome my guest this week. This week's co-host, the co-pilot here in Murph's Fan Cave, is the one and only, and I was given explicit instructions that this man was not only granted access, but granted permission from the man himself that normally adorns the southern annex of the Fan Cave desk, from the one and only Uncle Mosh, that said this is the only guy he would trust to sit in his chair, and it is the one and only Aaron, we call him Capo, Q-Dog Raider. What's up, Aaron?
Hey, in the building. You got to scrap the bottom of the barrel, but you know what? You got a sideshow partner. And you got it. Call me Robin. What's up, nation? Give it up.
Man, it's so cool to have you here, man. To have you here live. You know, we've been talking on the show, through the show, and via text and whatnot for a long time now. And you were coming through town, and we were like, man, let's get together and have you live on here in the Fan Cave. This is fantastic.
Oh, it's better than fantastic, baby. I mean, this is like a dream come true. I mean, you know, got hooked in on the ground floor of the show, and things went here and there, met other members of the nation and stuff like that through the show. And it's just, you know, this thing coming full circle. Now I'm in studio.
That's awesome. Well, and, you know, we were talking last week. We're talking with Sonny. It's one of the coolest things about Raiders Fan Radio has been the community that's developed, you know, around the show. And you know, we always knew from the early on we wanted to have our callers be part of the show, or listeners be part of the show. We didn't want it to just be Sonny and I sitting here talking out loud. We wanted to have interaction with Raider Nation, and you were one of the first ones that really not only jumped in with us, but you really got what we were going for. You got the humor of it, and everybody does. I'm not saying that you know there wasn't anybody that wasn't, but it just clicked with you early. Like it just, and I was always appreciative of your humor, and your insight. You know, you always had knowledgeable takes. And so you were the first, one of the first interviews that we had on the show, outside of media or
That's
a
right.
player or a coach, whatever. We just had you on the show. And then now here you are live in the fan cave, man. This is great to have you.
Yeah. Couldn't believe that it came true, but let's get down to it, man. Let's
All right.
talk Little Raiders, man.
All right. See what a humble guy he is. He doesn't want to talk about himself. He's just not about self-gloss. You want to just jump right in and talk about the Raiders. So absolutely. All right, so Raider Nation, so we got a few things to get to today. It's been a minute since we kind of did the normal format of the show, so there is a lot to get to. Obviously, a lot of news there to get to, so we definitely will. We'll get to that soon, and we're going to go through some contact information, of course. We always give respect towards the top of the show, but in honor of having Capo Q-Dog here this week, we're going to have a hit list. We're going to go over the hit list, and then we're going to talk about some other news stories, and then, of course, get to the Sea of Fans mailbag, which is always awesome to get to. So, Raider Nation, real quick, to support the show, as so many of you do so well, there's a few different ways you can do that. Number one, you can like us on YouTube, and you can subscribe to us on YouTube. And most importantly, in that aspect, be part of our chat room. The chat room I see is going nuts right now already. And so if you want to join us live, we're usually live on Wednesdays or sometimes Tuesdays like tonight. And jump into the chat room there. And I see Chuck Splatterhead McCann's in there, Adam Hill, Ron Stratton, Kevin the Raider Nerd, Juan Herrera, Mojo Raider. What's up, Mojo? Mr. Kano, USC Raider, Salvador's in there.
Chuck McCann, Spiderhead's in the building.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely. So Chuck McCann, president of the New Jersey chapter of the Black Hole and host of the Fan Club Bliss right here on Murph's Fan Cave Podcast Network. So absolutely great to see everybody in there. Appreciate the support. The guys are saying you're a little low, so get right on that microphone.
I got to dig on there, man.
Get good and loud in that thing so they can hear you. I've got you cranked up, so definitely be good and loud there. So anyways, you do that. And then also another way to support the show is that in the subscription, probably not here on the live version of it, but later on as the show goes up, there'll be a link there that will take you to NFLshop.com. And please support Raiders Fan Radio by, if you're going to go buy something at NFLshop.com, just click that link. You click that link, it will take you there, and we get a certain amount of proceeds back from NFLshop.com, and we're going to take all that money and we're going to donate it. Now, I wish I could tell you who it's going to, because I think I know who it's going to. It's very Raider related. There's some amazing causes. We're actually going to support 2 different charities, but I hopefully by as soon as next show we'll be able to announce who it is. Just got to get the T's crossed and the I's dotted, and so when we do that, we will definitely let you all know who it is, obviously. And so that money will go to them. So please support Raiders Fan Radio and these charities in that way. It doesn't cost you anything extra. All you got to do is just go through that link, and then you will the extra money will then kick back to us, and then we will then in turn donate it. And then the last but not least, you can support us on any audio podcast format like Stitcher, iTunes, Google Play. Well, it's not iTunes anymore; it's Apple Podcasts now. Yeah. But any of those services, you could just look for Murph's Fan Cave. That's MURFS Fan Cave, and then subscribe to us in that way. So before we get to the stories, let's go ahead and jump in and get some contact information from the one and only Uncle Mosh.
All right, boys and girls, pay attention. You got your old Uncle Mosh here with an update. That's right. I got some stuff for you. Take out a piece of paper, a pencil, a pen. Heck, use your pocket knife and carve the info into your dashboard as you're driving down the highway. First off, you need to like us on our fan page on Facebook. That's right. Go to Facebook at Raiders Fan Radio Podcast. Don't forget about the Twitter. You know your old Uncle Mosh, he twits now. That's right. Go to at Raiders Fan Radio. Also, don't forget the Instagram at Raiders Fan Radio. Or what about our website? That's right, RaidersFanRadio.com. Heck, if you want to, you can even email us, show at RaidersFanRadio.com, or call us on the Raiders Fan Radio hotline, 909-345-3346. That's 909-345-3346. Don't forget, Merv's Fan Cave on the YouTube, where you can get all the show links like the Fan Club Blitz with Splatterhead and Fitz. Find all our stuff on podcast providers like Stitcher, iTunes, and Google Play. All right, did I hit the time limit? Good.
All right, once again, welcome to Raiders Fan Radio, episode number 123. And Q-Dog, you know, we always name our show, or we at least relate our show number.
That's right.
Back to something significant in Raider Nation, right?
So what's your theme this week?
So this week, it's episode number 123, and, you know, it could be sometimes a yardage total. We've used a section of the stadium. We've used a lot of different things. Numbers once upon a time when it was
scores. I mean,
absolutely.
You bring it all.
Absolutely. And so, but this week, we're going with a record. So
Really?
now their NFL teams, there was either 14 game seasons,
Okay.
and then they went obviously now to 16. So 12-3 only adds to 15. But for episode number 123, we're going to use the record 12-3 as our number. You want to tell Raider Nation why we chose that?
When was the last time that we had a winning season?
That would be 2016.
So 2016, 12-3, what that means to me is possibly the last time that we had a playoff run.
That's exactly right. You are the man. And yes, so 12-3, that the Raiders went 12-3 in 2016 as of Christmas Eve. I was at church service,
All right.
and I got home from church, and my phone was blowing up, and from different friends and family, and everybody saying, "Too bad about your quarterback." And I'm thinking, "Oh no." Oh no! And now that same day, of course, you know, a lot of you know that we live in Middle Tennessee,
Right.
And originally from the Bay Area, live now in Middle Tennessee, and so I was like, well, maybe they're thinking I'm a Titans fan or something because I knew Mariota got hurt that
Same day.
same injury as Derek Carr, and so I'm thinking, oh no, I hope they're making a mistake. I flip on the TV because I had the game DVR'd,
Right.
and I'm like, forget the DVR. I just want to know what happened, so I go
Yeah.
straight to the news. Derek Carr, broken leg. So it was devastating because, I mean, even though we were 12-3, we all knew it was kind of over at that point.
It was curtains, man. It was curtains.
Tell me what your experience was. Where were you that day?
Well, I was not at church. I was at a Humpadinks in the greater Dallas-Fort Worth area with the defenders of Silver and Black, and we all it was just like a hush came over the room. We got a huge room in the back of that restaurant, and it's just full of Raiders fans. And then we see the linebacker come, and, of course, Donald Penn whiffs on the block. And then all you see is just, you know, Derek Carr in a seated position, holding his leg, pointing at his ankle, talking about, "It's broke, man. It's broke, man." And I'm like, I hope this isn't self-analysis that comes true. But sure enough, I mean, his twig was snapped, and our hearts were dashed right there. We knew.
That was it.
Oh, man, it was totally it.
That was it. And,
Sure.
you know, it was tough because it was like, because everybody forgets about the pinky now, huh? You know what I mean? It's like we were just coming off of this pinky injury where Derek Carr gets his finger blows up.
Goes on Michael Jackson.
You know.
Where's the glove? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. And he goes in and they snap it back, they tape it up, they do all this different stuff. It's like, all right, he's going to be well enough at least to execute the offense. And then here he goes and snaps his twig as you play.
Yeah. I mean, we had lots of Bridgewater. I mean, you know, okay, he can rock the glove, he can throw the rock and everything like that. But, you know, it just didn't work out the way that we wanted. I mean, could you imagine that season? Could you imagine that playoff run? I couldn't imagine, you know, us losing to Houston the way that we did. I mean, first of all, we probably would have hosted had we played that last, you know.
Oh, yeah, because
game
we would have
16.
beat the Broncos. We'd have beat them that last. That's right.
Would have wrapped up the division.
Yep.
But
yeah. Rough day, but, you know, look, it was still a significant moment in Raider history. So even though 12-3 was nice, it was a good record, but
we kissed our sister. You know. She gave us a stank eye. I mean, why are you doing this? But I think we're depressing the crowd, though.
I know, right? So let's move on to something fun. Let's move on to some. Well, actually, we'll just say I got an interesting next topic here. It may not be a lot of fun. Well, it's always going to be fun, but at least it's not rosy. We'll just say that. All right, so. Here at the top of the show, we always give respect. You know, we don't do shout outs. We don't do props. Nothing wrong with those things, but we give respect. You know what I mean? This thing that we do here on Raiders Fan Radio, we give respect. Well, in honor of having you, Q-Dog, here in the fan cave. We didn't want to give anybody respect. You're famous on our show for having the hit list. For these are people that maybe are a little crossed up with Raider Nation. This could be somebody that plays for the team. This could be somebody that's maybe spread some ill will towards the team.
The intrigue is building, baby. I mean, you got me in.
Well, you invented it.
Well, I mean, you're taking it to the next level. I mean, who are we going to put on that? I mean, let me get my sight adjusted.
All right. All right, so here we're going to do the hit list. So this is my hit list. I came up with these 3 names on here, but I want your input. I want your reaction to these 3 names that I put on there. And there's a very specific reason why these 3 names are on the hit list this week. So number 1 is, and of course this is all in jest. So for all of those of you out there, just please understand that. But first and foremost is I got Libby Schaaf. I got the mayor of Oakland on the list this week, on the hit list this week, because, she's been kind of the one that's, I don't know, she's been the figurehead, we'll just call her, the reason for a lot of the challenges for the Raiders and the Coliseum Authority and seemingly everybody that wanted to get a stadium deal done in Oakland. She seems to be the person that runs the most roadblocks. Is that fair? Is that a nice way to put it?
Compared to a lot of the people in the Bay Area, you're being extremely generous in your rundown of this assessment.
Okay.
For real.
All right. So knowing that she has been the one that's typically been on the front end of halting progress.
And relishes it. I mean, she doesn't shy away from this. I mean, she really likes to play the villain to the organization that is the villain. So by proxy, I ain't got nothing for her.
All right. Thank you. All right. Now, that woman, knowing that what her disposition is normally towards the Raiders, went on a Bay Area, I think this is KPIX Channel 5, but she went on one of the local news stations and did an appearance, and this is what she had to say.
Let's talk about the Raiders. And we're hearing that the Raiders are going to play in Oakland maybe one more season, possible?
Yes, it's a long goodbye.
Yeah.
I'm thrilled, actually, after shopping around a few other spots. We are in great negotiations right now to see the Raiders play here for 2019 and possibly 2020. The negotiations are going well. It will not impact our lawsuit against the NFL and the Raiders for what we believe was their absolute abandonment of Oakland as their home base. But we are going to try and keep them here as long as we can. That Raider Nation, those fans are the best in the world. They deserve to have their Raiders close by. And we want the workers to also continue to get those jobs as long as we can. So expect next week we might be bringing an actual agreement to the Coliseum board to vote on.
Well, you had a lot to tell us.
Is there anything more disingenuous than that woman's comments? Look, and you know us, we don't get political. We don't get caught up in that stuff. But it's tough for me to deal with people that don't represent a consistent opinion. Look, if you're against the Raiders, if you're against that's fine. I can, but don't flip now because now they're going to be, now you got to save face because they're going to be in town for an extra year. What do you think?
I definitely would take the mayor that's across the bay over in San Francisco. First of all, she's an excellent slow dancer. Oh, my goodness, and she wears a pantsuit. But to pull it back to the realm of what we're talking about, I mean, this lady came out with the fire and venom against the nation, and then she turns it around and then soft serves it talking about the greatest fans in the world. You can't have it both ways. You can't have political expediency on one side and then dial it back and then want to be on the right side of history, which she is clearly going to be on the wrong side of. She has time and time again voted down, initiatives that would have kept the team in Oakland where we belong over the course of the past decade. Now, I know that when she was just a city council member before she ascended to be in her honor, I mean, she did us no favors then. So, let's not dial that back and think that, this is just a new genesis of hate. This lady, I don't know what she's got against the Raiders. Maybe she's just a diehard A's fan. But the thing is, Raider Nation, we need to go ahead and fill her inbox. And I know she's got an inbox somewhere with our 2 cents, our concern, and basically, where we're going to lie our votes. Because once we stir her and get her in her wheelhouse, That's whenever, you actually make real
right.
change. And then we're going to go to Vegas anyway.
I know that's the other. Well,
but we can leave, saying something, stinky inside of a brown bag and light it on fire and set it on her front porch as constituents.
There we go. Love it.
Not
All
that
right.
me or you would do it, but the proverbial you
Hey,
would like to do
nicely done.
Nicely
Nicely done. All right, so all right, next. Now this is going to be a real interesting one. So I mentioned I got 3 names on the hit list. So here's name number 2. Now you are a Q dog, but you're
I'm
not
a
only
proud member of the Omega Psi Phi Fraternity Incorporated.
There you go. So there you go. So there's the genesis of the name Q Dog Raider. Okay. Now, also a member of this fraternity is former Raiders wide receiver
Jerry Porter.
New
Zeta chapter, West Virginia University.
Right. Now, we like Jerry Porter.
Love him.
We love Jerry Porter, right? We loved him when he was a Raider. But then he had some comments for the Raiders, particularly John Gruden this week. And now, look, I'm going to put him on my hit list because here's the thing.
He's grown.
This thing of ours, there's one thing you don't do. You don't speak out against the family. No. There's 2 things you got to learn. Number 1, you don't speak out. You don't talk about your friends. And you always keep your mouth shut, right? Those are the 2 things that Robert De Niro taught us in Goodfellas, right? You know what I mean? So, this guy this week spoke out against the family.
Oh, no.
What was it like playing for Coach Gruden the first time around he was there?
Hell, we didn't like each other. He doesn't like young guys. That's another reason I say I don't think he's going to he would take a quarterback early. Coach Gruden seems to me as the person who wants to see the resume, what you've done in the NFL. That's why Jordy Nelson was able to come there and fit in. But I don't know, young receivers actually Amari Cooper had a resume too. But like rookies, young guys, he leans on them. It's nothing they've ever seen before. It's tough. And it gets you to a point where I felt like I wanted to fight Gruden once. So, he's just he's an abrasive guy. And our personalities clash, but he seems like he has a plan and things are shaping up for him. I mean, the first year, everybody was ready to toss him back. But after just one move in free agency, his second year in, all is forgotten and everybody's pro Gruden again.
Are you guys okay now?
I wouldn't say so. We haven't talked. We haven't spoken. The last time I think he's mentioned my name was when I scored in the Super Bowl against him, and we didn't end well. In 2002, after the Tuck rule and everything. It's funny. It's a funny story. Only like 3 or 4 people know about this. So Mark Meyer was a trainer with the Raiders. Now I think he's the head trainer at University of Nebraska. But I was doing rehab for my separated shoulder because I separated my shoulder in the Tuck rule game. And Gruden walks through the weight room. Is like, "Hey man, Michael Jordan's coming to town. Me and you courtside. I love you, bro." Walked off. Next day through the media, newspapers, however he found out, he had got essentially traded to Tampa. And that was the last thing he said to me. And then after that, the touchdown in the Super Bowl, he didn't speak to me, but you could hear, he was mic'd up for the game. He's like, "You got to be been kidding me that he didn't catch that ball in bounds." I don't think he liked me. I'm not going to lose any sleep over it. But for the greater good, I hope the Raiders do well, and I hope he does well.
All right. Now, he saves it at the end there. He keeps it from going completely off the rails, at least to me. Was that at least he wishes them good luck, and it doesn't appear that he's got any ill will towards the organization as a whole. And now this is a TMZ appearance, and he's wearing his hats backwards, but he's got a black NFL hat on. I'm assuming it's a Raider hat, and he's wearing a Raiders shirt. So he's definitely still repping the team, but I don't know. He kind of went in on Coach there. What do you think, you dog?
I think he pulled a Libby Schaff. I mean, to hear the man talk, I mean,
there was
a parallel. I mean, the way that whole commentary flowed, I mean, he's kind of all over the place. I mean, there's definitely some animus there. But why is there some animus there? He did make it to the Super Bowl. And if you know that your coach is not a young player-centric type of individual and you're a young player, play through it.
There you go. Absolutely. And, you know, it's not like Jerry Porter went on to have like these massively successful seasons after Gruden left. I mean, he had some decent years, and I'm not going to throw him under the bus. And this is not because I did like him as a player, and I still like the guy.
Yeah.
But I thought that was a little misguided, I guess, maybe in some of those comments. And I don't know. And I mean, I think the other thing too that threw me a little bit is we don't hear from Jerry Porter a lot.
No, he's a recluse, and we've reached out to him. I've personally reached out to him in order to get, his side of things, outside of the shows, so he could come to the show and, kind of air these things out. Going to TMZ, kind of smacks of sensationalism a little bit, but there are better, mediums and venues in order to air out that stuff. And then again, why are you airing that out? You touched on it perfectly. I mean, you're going against the family and you're going public as you do it. Bad look, bro.
Yeah, not a good look. I think that's it right there. Just not a good look. And, he made the comment that Gruden doesn't like young players and that he only engages the veterans. And look, and this is a common theme. It's not just Jerry Porter that's brought this up. We've heard this from numerous people. Well, when you look at the current roster of the Raiders, the way they sit today, there are 2 guys that are above the age of 30, and one of them we just traded for. So come on now.
Compared to last year where we had all but 2 guys that were over 30.
Yeah, right? Yeah.
Hey, tale of 2 seasons.
Absolutely. So, all right. So last one here, and then I'll get off my grumpy soapbox. All right. So the last one on the hit list is really a guy and an organization, and there's a little bit of a backstory to this. So most recently, in fact, as recently as yesterday, Pro Football Talk and its proprietor, Mike Florio, who you see not only on their own productions, but you see him on NBC's Football Night in America and whatnot. Mike Florio and PFT got into a bit of a tussle with one of the local Raiders writers. And speaking of the family, this guy, we're talking about Vic Tafer, a writer for The Athletic.
Yes.
Vic, going way back when Sonny and I first started, Vic was one of the first media members that joined us on the show. And Vic's actually been on our show twice. It's been a while since we've had him on, but Vic was one of the guys early on. I'm talking before Raiders Fan Radio, before Raiders Fancast, like back when we did a Madden show.
Wow.
He came on. We did a show called the Sports Dagos.
Okay.
And we had this offshoot that was Raiders related. Anyways, he came on. So, I mean, he has been so generous with his time and so kind to us. So when I saw that Florio was getting mixed up with Vic, immediately I'm going to take Vic's side just because he's one of our guys. But then when I looked at what happened, it really kind of fleshed out the big picture, and it was really unfortunate what happened. So Vic had this story about Sloan University, I think it was Sloan or Sloan Research Center, part of the MIT, part of that university. Anyways, the gist of the article is that there's this big analytics conference, and follow me, Raider Nation. I know I'm kind of all over the place, but there's this big analytics conference that goes on every year. And it's a sports analytics conference where they measure these different whatever factors and different things in sports, from anything that you can measure, anything that has to do with a number. So this firm and this group and this conference said that the Raiders made the move of the year in sports by trading Khalil Mack.
Thought I saw something
that
about
by
that.
the numbers, just strictly by that, by evaluating the statistics of it all,
that's right,
that the Raiders came out better than any other organization in any other transaction. Okay.
Now hold up, Murph.
Yeah.
This sounds like validation to me.
Absolutely.
Dangerously close to it.
Absolutely. And a great point is that this kind of confirms what a lot of us had been hoping were the case. And, we can only go off of what we can read and what news we can acquire, but by judging the big picture and not how it felt in the moment when we traded away one of the most defensive or dominant defensive players in the league, yes, it hurt our feelings, but we tried to understand why. And by understanding why, it unveiled this bigger picture in play. Well, this bigger picture in play, like you said, got validated by this universe. So Vic did an article on this. This was announced on March 5th, and just this past week, so just a few days ago, Vic wrote this article detailing this experience, okay? All right, so PFT, Mike Florio's organization, here I come full circle. I'm finally going to wrap this story up. PFT comes full circle, takes Vic's story, paraphrases it, and then publishes it as their own work. So Vic, his immediate response to PFT was, You're not even going to link to my story. This is all on Twitter. You guys can look at it. It's still on there now. You're not even going to link to my story.
Not going to cite your resources.
Exactly. And so, look, it doesn't take much to understand that, look, in journalism and as far as integrity goes, you always do what you just said. Cite your sources. You tie back to where it came from. At a minimum, you just at least acknowledge the fact that you pulled. Well, all they did was deny,
Wow.
and it turned into a Twitter beef between PFT and Vic, and ended when Vic blocked them. Not only PFT, but blocked one of the editors and whatnot. And everybody in Raider Nation came to Vic's defense because he was
As well
right.
they should.
As well they should. So here's why PFT and here's why Florio is on my hit list, and here's why I say all that. You guys know that we rally against these entities a lot because they spread false information all the time.
And we're such an easy target, so, we always got to pick up the mantle. So go ahead, man.
Absolutely.
Run it down.
Because of this spread of false information, because of this always clickbait and headline grabbing type of reporting, it doesn't do Raider Nation any good. It doesn't do a football fan any good.
No.
All it does is rile us up unnecessarily, frankly, right?
That's right. You're poking the bear.
All right, exactly. And so I was kind of happy to see all this go on with Vic because it was, again, that almost like validation. Like,
Right.
You guys aren't jerks. Yeah, we really are. Not only did we suspect that you were, but we've seen it. So here's something else that has happened here recently that just cracked me up that PFT did. And this is before this latest thing with Vic.
All right.
On Mike Florio's podcast, on their little PFT thing, he went on this whole thing about how John Gruden didn't come to the Raiders to coach Derek Carr. They were one of the ones, PFT was, that was leading this crusade of, the Raiders are going to trade Derek Carr. They're going to trade Derek Carr. Derek Carr's not safe. He's going to be on his way out, right? All this rhetoric that we hear, Q-Dog.
Everything that Mayock and Gruden have been saying time and time again, they've been consistent. Carr's our guy. They went out and they got all the groceries necessary for him to cook up this next season, and I'm glad that you actually got to the foundation of all of this misinformation and stuff like that constantly keeps the Raiders in a bad light. They don't know what's going on because they don't know or care to know what's going on with the Raiders. All they want is a rabid fan base in order to get clicks by sensationalizing a story that goes 180 degrees from what's actually happening out there in the Bay. And
Absolutely.
It's sickening, man. It's absolutely sickening.
Absolutely. And so I made up a little, knowing all this has gone on. This is before the Vic thing. The Vic thing was just extra. I made up this little thing. I took Florio's soundbite of him saying, John Gruden didn't come to the Raiders to coach Derek Carr. And I mixed it up with some quotes from John Gruden himself. And here's what this sounds like.
Come on.
Look, John Gruden didn't go to the Raiders to coach Derek Carr. He went.
Our quarterback played well in spite of what all the geniuses say. Threw for 4,000 yards for the first time in his career. He completed almost 70% of his passes. So we're really confident in Carr and what he can do in our system.
Look, John Gruden didn't go to the Raiders to coach Derek Carr. He went to the Raiders to coach the Raiders.
Yeah. One of the big reasons I wanted to come back and coach is I wanted to try to get the keys to this car. I wanted to start this thing and take it out for a drive. And based on what I've seen so far, the only thing that could get in our way is me.
Q-Dog, you can't believe some of these media outlets, they're only interested in one thing, and that's your clicks, because those clicks equal money, don't they?
That's what it's all about, man. It's all about the click, man, and it kind of harkens back to that beef from Stephen A. in the car from about 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. Where did that end up? Nowhere. But it got ESPN ratings.
Absolutely.
Or a four-letter network, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Forgive me.
There you go. All right, let's get to some fun stuff. Let's get to some news.
Hey, what's up, Raider Nation? This is EJ Manuel. You're listening to Raiders Fan Radio. Super excited to get this season back rolling. I hope you guys are having a great offseason.
All right. So the big news story that's really has gone down here over the past couple of weeks, there's no mistaking. Not only is it the story of Raider Nation, it's the story of the NFL, and that is one Antonio Brown getting signed by the Raiders to a 3-year deal, $30 million guaranteed, cost the Raiders a third and a fifth. And while we've talked to it a little bit with you all, and we've talked to Sonny a little bit last week, we really hadn't broken down the significance of somebody like Antonio Brown's arrival to the Raiders. And what I mean by that is that, yes, it's going to have a big impact to our play on the field. It's going to have a big impact to our offense. But we've got star power once again. Doesn't it feel like, Aaron, like it feels like, the Raiders were, I don't want to say we were devoid of stars, but I mean, who was the face of the team? It was Khalil Mack and it was Derek Carr.
Yeah.
And when Khalil Mack left, he became the face of the NFL practically. I mean, he was, you talk about being, if you don't think that there's a media bias against the Raiders, all you got to do is look at how Khalil Mack was viewed as a Raider versus how he was viewed as a Bear. But even so, then Derek Carr becomes the face of the organization singularly, and he kind of has an off year, even though he threw for 1 million yards and by all accounts did pretty well.
Coming off a fractured back.
Right. But the wins weren't there. Yeah. The touchdowns were down. So, he threw some goofy passes early in the season. So anyways, we were kind of devoid of like that electrifying player, that big name player.
That's right.
And now here comes
AB.
That's right. And business is booming.
Oh,
and
yes,
it's kind of nice, isn't it, to have a superstar?
Oh, you know what? It really is. I mean, let's go back a little bit. I mean, how many different guys were the face of the organization that honestly were embarrassing to actually have to wear their jerseys or admit that they were in our lineup and stuff like that? I mean, no Jamarcus. But now we've got AB, a bona fide first ballot, walk into the Hall of Fame guy, and we haven't had that in a while. I mean, honestly, think back to the last guy that we had like that, Timmy Brown, and that was probably as far back as we go. I mean, Jerry Rental Rice, I mean, him. But no, nobody.
Yeah, I agree, and and he's excited to be a Raider too, and I think that's the other part of Antonio Brown that I've really gravitated towards right away. Yes, I mean, and he exhibits enthusiasm in a different way than like what Marshawn does, but we saw it with Marshawn too, right? When Marshawn became a Raider, he was like the look in his face, he was like a kid.
Oh,
he was. You could see that he was having a dream realized. Now, so that's different than what Brown. But I think Antonio Brown is having a dream realized too. Just a different kind of dream,
They're two different dudes, two different vibes. I mean, you got Marshawn when he came back. He was repping the town. He wanted to come back to his origin.
Right.
Brown, he's lights, he's glitz, he's shine. Two different guys, same enthusiasm, just different passions.
Yeah, absolutely. And so. You mentioned Tim Brown, so I want to hit that first. It's I got a few audio bites to play here for you all. Let's just go ahead and hit it there because I think Aaron makes Q-Dog makes a great point that Timmy Brown was the last walking Hall of Famer that the Raiders have had, and he was different from Jerry too because like you said, Jerry was a rental where Timmy was our guy.
Yeah.
Right. He's Mr. Raider, literally.
Came up in the organization.
Absolutely. So let's go ahead and let's listen to. Where is it? Uh-oh, there it is. Never mind. Here, let's go. Let's hear Timmy Brown talking about Antonio Brown and welcoming him to the Raiders.
What's up? This is Tim Brown, 2015 NFL Hall of Famer, and Mr. Raider himself is what they call me. And Antonio Brown, I just wanted to say from one Brown to another, welcome to Raider Nation, brother. I know you've been out there with that black and gold. Now the silver and black is going to show you what it's all about. God bless, brother. Enjoy your time.
Oh, man.
Isn't that great?
Timmy was so gracious. I mean, it's mustard and black. It's not blacking. It's mustard and black. Sold at a convenience store near you.
Why is everybody that we can't stand, why do they all have to be after condiments? You got ketchup and mustard out there. You got black and mustard.
It all pales by comparison.
Are they
silver, black, or nothing?
That's it. That's all there is to it. And I love how the Raiders have, whether it's the way that the organization has the players and the former players, how reverent they are of them, or how former players come out and support things that are currently going on in the organization. It's awesome to have one Hall of Famer.
That's right.
The last Hall of Famer to the next Hall of Famer. right?
A passing of a torch, so to say.
It's awesome. It's awesome. So good stuff there from Timmy. All right, so as we mentioned, Antonio Brown arrived in Oakland, and it was borderline pageantry. I loved it.
There was some pomp. There was a
right.
You know,
he gets off the private jet. He's got his family with him. Everybody from the organization is there to meet him. And so this is great. So we got some audio here, not only from him landing, but all the way through his first time walking in. And picture this, if you haven't seen the video, he's walking in, he's looking around, he's taking it all in, he's looking at all the pictures, he's looking at pictures of Timmy Brown and Fred Biletnikoff and Jerry Rice, and he's just kind of taking in the history, and especially the history of the wide receivers that have played for the Raiders.
Baby, welcome out, baby. We're taking out.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, man.
Love you, man.
I'm on my way to work, man.
Hey,
welcome, man. All day. Raider Nation, welcome.
Honor, bro. That's all the stud. I need to meet John Madden. Or Tim Brown. Tim up here? Fred Biletnikoff. Who's next? A lot of great players coming to Oakland. It's crazy. Hey, doing, Mr. Mayor? Good to see you, man. Thanks for the opportunity.
Dude, you look good in black.
I feel good, man.
This is awesome. Look at those shoes.
I'm excited, man.
What are you wearing?
A little bit of Gucci, a little bit of,
That's cool. You were a 6th-round pick. I was a 10th-round pick.
Back in the day, 12 rounds?
That's right. They had
Come
12.
on, I got a little history.
Yeah, it is pretty. Yeah.
That's crazy.
So a couple kind of late slappies, and look at this now.
Look at us. Let's make it work. So I can pay off, brother.
Hey, we got 4 draft picks in the first 35, so we're going to need you to kind of be, their mentor and helping them out a little bit, man.
I'm here to lead it and take this thing over.
Because I've watched you practice.
Whatever you need from me, I'll take this thing by whole.
How you doing?
Nice to meet you.
Coach Curve.
Good to see you. Coach, what up, good to see you, man. Honor to be back with you, Coach. So fun, baby.
Good visit.
Hey, Coach.
Good to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
Yes.
How you feeling?
Good. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
Pretty good. I bet you are.
Yeah, I'm excited.
I bet you are. Did you make it in?
I made it in. Coach, what up, baby? How you doing, Coach?
Love you, brother.
Good to see you, man. I'm so excited. I'm excited, Coach. Good to see you, baby.
Good at that hat, man.
Thank you, man.
The family here all right?
Yeah, they made it. Everything's good, Coach.
Come on,
Honor, man. Thanks, Coach. I'm ready to see you, baby.
Oh, yeah.
Man, I love it. Genuine excitement, not only from AB, but from literally everybody in the organization. You hear Coach in there, you hear Mayock in there, you hear all the position coaches, you hear Meet Edgar Bennett in there. Great stuff, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's automatically humbling. I mean, especially this guy coming out of the situation that he manufactured in Pittsburgh, to come into Raider Nation, to go in the halls of the building, to see the pictures, like you had mentioned, to see, the live living legends to come out and extend their hand. And I like how Timmy came up there. They call me Mr. Raider.
Yeah.
What do they call you?
Oh, it's beautiful. Oh, I'm getting chills, man.
Yeah.
Nice. Now, something in there that really I latched onto is that you and I on the way over here today, we're having a discussion about leadership. It's an interest in you and me, both personally and professionally.
Correct.
In leadership and organizations. And, there's a little bit of a misnomer in terms of leadership that, you got to be cut of a certain cloth, or you got to have certain inherent abilities.
That's right.
The bottom line is that anybody can lead. You just have to make the choice to be a leader. And when Mayock says, we got a bunch of young guys coming in, and we're going to need you to be a leader, AB doesn't shy away from that a bit. Like, this whole idea that there's a potential for him to be a diva or be selfish, I don't see it. I see him as eccentric. He's got a big personality, but I don't, on the field and in the locker room, I don't see anything that gives us any evidence he's not going to be a leader to any of the young players that we bring in.
And Murph, I raised an eyebrow because whenever he came in, he talked about accountability and holding other guys accountable whenever he was far from accountable in week 17 of this past season. You kind of looked at that. Maybe it's a red herring, but to see him come in and, of course, to have Chucky co-sign his work ethic and how he's the hardest working individual, that's that leading by example that we're hoping to get on the field and the practice facility as well. It's okay to lead out on Sundays, but what are you doing on Tuesday through Saturday that's going to get us over the top each week?
Absolutely. I think, and that's clutch, right? Because that's where it's earned, right? It's not on, it's not on Sundays. It's everything that happens leading up to that. And, we're already seeing evidence of him being active. In terms of practice, I got a couple of clips here, or not clips, but a couple of notes here from Matt Schneidman, buddy of ours here at Raiders Fan Radio, has been on the show a couple of times. He's a writer there for the Bay Area News Group. And, Antonio Brown was critical of Roethlisberger. This is a tweet from Matt. Antonio Brown was critical of Ben Roethlisberger for not working out with him during the offseason or getting to know him personally. Antonio Brown, at this point, and this tweet was earlier this week, Brown has now been with Derek Carr for 3 consecutive days. They've been working out since the day he landed in Oakland. That's how they're going to get better, and that's how they're going to get better quick, right?
And that's how you build a rapport, but it sounds like there might be a little bit of a courtship going on.
You know what? I'm not here to judge. Whatever,
whatever floats,
that's
people's boats.
That's right. You know what I mean? To each his own. You can't decide who you're going to love, right? Yeah. But it's clear to me that Antonio Brown and Derek Carr have a budding love affair.
Could it be endless?
I think it
Let's find out. Let's find
out.
Derek Carr, man, he's special. Derek Carr special. Yeah, he's special, man. It's been an honor catching the ball from him. I had honor to catch 2 passes from him already. He's a great young quarterback, man, young champion. All the fundamental tools to be one of the greatest.
First day as a Raider, baby. Woo! Woo! Hey, celebrate with me and my family right now. We at my crib. We just celebrating the first day as a Raider. DC, I'm open, baby. Hey, DC. Love you, Brody. Hey, DC, when you ready, man, I'm going to send a jet. DC. We celebrate, baby. Hey, DC, I'm in the best physical condition. I'm ready. Hey, everyone go follow Mr. Carr, Derek Carr. Tell him I love him. I'm so excited to be playing with him, and I'm looking forward to work.
What up, OG? Woo! Faster delivery. What's up, baby? Good? I'm feeling good. How you doing? Bro? Finally, bro. Get up, bro. I'm excited, bro. How crazy is that? Bro, that's amazing. I'm excited, bro. Long time ago. Isn't that crazy? Since all right, bro. How you feeling? I'm great. How you doing? You already through? No. I'm waiting on you. Yeah, come on. Ready when you ready. Let's go. Ready when you ready. You guys come on. Thanks for welcoming to the crib. Yeah. Hey, wow. Family. Blessing, bro. I'm excited, bro. DC, the man. I'm ready, bro. So good, bro. Yeah. Nothing like it, man. Raider Nation. Raider Nation, bro. How crazy is that?
End zone, touchdown, Antonio Brown. Derek Carr with a strike. Wow.
Wow. Family. Blessing, bro.
Kind of chokes me up a little bit, Aaron.
That's my quarterback.
But, look, we poke fun at it. And, these guys are, they're spending a lot of time working out together. And heck, Antonio Brown was at Derek Carr's kid's birthday party. They're having races on inflatables and all this kind of stuff. But this is what you want. Right? Yeah. This is the kind of rapport you want. Now, I'll be curious to see what happens when, it's 3rd and 8 and Derek Carr checks down to Jalen Richard for a 3-yard gain. I'll be curious to see what Antonio Brown's reaction is. But outside of that, Aaron, I think it started off pretty darn well, no?
Kind of hard to see this coming undone. Honestly. The chemistry's there from day one. So, let's see where this goes. Let's enjoy the ride.
Absolutely. And I think that it's, like you said, it's the chemistry is already there. And with a 3-year deal, considering we got your last year in Oakland, year 1 in Vegas, and then the 3rd year, which hopefully things will be headed in a positive direction in terms of wins and losses by then, it's kind of hard. I don't think there's enough time or enough room for this to get stale.
No. And we think back to Cooper, or no derogatory commentary, but they, for as much as they say that they were best friends, this seems kind of genuine.
This seems a lot more genuine.
It's not just print copy or something that you put out for a release. There was genuine enthusiasm, A, for having a good receiver, and B, having a young, vibrant quarterback to receive from. And I don't think Ben is that guy anymore.
No, I don't think so either. And now
you probably got some numbers to support that somewhere. But honestly, I mean, Ben, he's been diminishing returns for the better part of 4 seasons now.
You are such a pro. Let me just say that.
I'm in my mid-40s, and me and Ben had the same shape. I'm a sausage. I apologize to Raider Nation. I used to be a bad man.
Well, I don't know, man. You're looking pretty good over there. We see on the
Ben does not look good. That's my point. Ben looks bad. Well, he needs more mustard, baby.
Well, and
them hot dogs ain't gonna eat themselves. That beer ain't gonna drink itself.
And there's a lot of stories now coming about he's kind of been he was a jerk early on. There was all that stuff about him at parties. And
I like that. You've got degrees of jerkdom. So go ahead and break that down because, he was, a stellar jerk when he came into the league. Then he was an aloof jerk. Then he was, we want to use that word. He was an aggressive jerk to the other gender on and off, whether it was sustained or unsustained, whether it was at a pro-am or whether it was actually in PA. And it's highly disrespectful. And then he was a motorcycle jerk. He couldn't be traded or trusted on the roads, And then, he was a laid-up jerk. Then he was, oh, man, he's the worst.
He's really
just the worst. Coming out of Miami U, I thought that this guy, I was clamoring for this guy. We didn't get him, and I'm so glad that we didn't. He's got a Super Bowl or 2 in the back pocket, but honestly, this guy's not a Raider, and I think AB is better for having separated himself from that organization and Ben.
Absolutely. Could not build on that any better. Excellent stuff there, Q-Dog. And so, you brought up some numbers. You know me, I hate math, but I love numbers. And the numbers tell you, here's why Antonio Brown's happy. All you got to do is look at the numbers, Raider Nation. And look, anybody wants to give Derek Carr any crap, I'm the first one to come to his defense, and it's because I look at numbers. I don't go off of how it makes me feel. I go off of how he plays. And look, I'm not going to defend some of the goofy passes that he's thrown. I mentioned it earlier in the show. But even this year, he did some weird things with the football, throwing picks in the end zone, completely unacceptable things to do with the ball. But when you look at the numbers and when you look at how he performs versus how Ben Roethlisberger was in Ben's first 5 years, Derek Carr has a distinct advantage. Ben, first 5 years of his career, starting in 2004, 17 touches, 11 picks. 17, then 2005, I'm going to count them up. 17 touches, 9 picks. 18 touchdowns, 23 picks. 32 touchdowns, 11 picks, and then 17 and 15. So for a total of 101 touchdowns and 69 interceptions. All right, now we go to Derek Carr. First 5 years in the league, same thing. I'm going to count them up, starting in 2014. 21 touchdowns, 12 picks, 32 touches, 13 picks, 28 and 6 in 2016. 22 touchdowns, 13 picks in 17, and then this last year, 19 and 10 for a total of 122 touchdowns and only 54 interceptions. So I know I said I hate math, but the quick math tells me that's 21 more touchdowns, and that is 15 less interceptions, Q-Dog. That, look, you can hate on Derek Carr all you want. You can promote Ben Roethlisberger all you want. But at the end of the day, I think Derek Carr I know he's had a better start to his career. And if he'd have had half the team that the freaking Steelers had around Ben Roethlisberger.
That's where I was going. That's
right,
exactly where I
right.
was
Tell
going.
me about it.
Because Ben was throwing to Hines Ward. He was throwing to Antonio Brown. He was throwing the ball to Smith-Schuster. He was throwing the ball out of the backfield to Lev Bell. He was throwing the ball to Martavis Bryant when Martavis Bryant was blunted. Who was Carr throwing the ball to? Who was he throwing the ball to?
Dropsies?
A lot of people that led or were near the league in drop passes.
Yep.
So if you gave him the stable of individuals that he had to toss the ball around the park to, imagine what those numbers would look like after the first 5 seasons.
It's crazy. Think about Antoine Randall L. You think about
about him,
you know what I mean? You think about the players that they've had versus what Derek Carr's.
All pro level caliber talent was who he's throwing the ball to.
And then you top it out. Look, and if you don't think a good, and I'm not you, the proverbial you, if you don't think that having a good defense influences what your offense and your quarterback does,
he was given a lot of short fields. You're doggone right.
Absolutely, because he
had
a
lot of short fields.
Look at the players they had on defense back then: Troy Polamalu, James Harrison. Right? I mean, you look at the guys that were. I mean, at one point they had the studliest linebacker.
Big Lloyd. He had Lloyd at the tail end of his career.
Larry Foote. I mean, you think about all those guys. They had rock stars on that defense. Anyway,
Hayward.
Oh my gosh! So I mean, look. So
can't believe we're talking Steelers.
I know. I got to quit. It's starting to feel a little icky here. So, but that said, so look,